Okay guys, welcome to this 30-minute yoga sequence. Today we're going to be continuing with the chakras, focusing today on the throat chakra. So to start, we're going to sit with our legs folded, sit bones nice and firm on the mat, just finding your positioning. We're going to rest our hands on our knees. If you have a tight lower back or tight hips and you can feel your back bowing, you can sit on a cushion just to elevate the hips so that we can sit with a nice and straight back. We want to be lifting up through the chest, opening across the heart space and across the throat. So gently closing the eyes, just taking in a few deep breaths and allowing the body to settle. You can start tapping into your senses, running through each one of them to bring yourself into the present moment. Noticing any light or shadows across the eyes, what you can smell and taste. You can project your hearing outside of the room that you're in, noticing what sounds you can hear. And as you begin to list them, you can draw your hearing inward, focusing on what you can hear within the room. And then lastly, touch. Noticing the body's points of contact with the mat, feeling your clothing against your skin. Noticing the temperature of the air that surrounds you. Focusing on the triangle beneath the nose, taking a deep breath in. Feeling the air pass through the back of the throat and into the lungs. Noticing the rise and fall of the chest. And starting to bring your awareness to the throat. So the throat chakra is represented by blue. It is our center for communication and expression. It is the gateway to the higher chakras. Focusing on the breath here, observing as it passes through. Start to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. On the out breath, you can start to visualize or chant the word hum, H-A-M. Hum, hum. Starting to notice the vibrations in the throat. Hum. The sound and the vibrations stimulate the throat chakra. Helping to balance and align, to open. Following here for 5 more breaths. And then gently allowing the breath to return to normal, finding its own rhythm. Imagine a piece of string from the tailbone through the spine, up through the crown of the head, lifting you up a little bit taller. Slowly drop the chin to the chest, keeping a long spine. And we're going to start to roll the head to the left ear to left shoulder, and to the right, chin to the chest, and taking the right ear to the right shoulder. Just gently moving the head from side to side, stretching through the neck, focusing on the throat, keeping the shoulder blades down the back. Observing any sensations that you can feel. On the next rotation, taking the left ear to the left shoulder, place the left hand on the right side of the head and walk the right fingertips out to the right side, deepening the stretch here. Taking in a few deep breaths, breathing into the neck. Releasing the head and the hand, using the fingertips to help straighten. Dropping the chin to the chest. Rolling the head to the right, right ear to right shoulder. Taking the right hand on the left side of the head, walking the left fingertips away. Keep lifting up through the spine. And releasing the head and the hands, using the fingertips to help straighten the head. Placing the hands back on the knees, take the chin up to the ceiling. Dropping the head, opening through the throat. Taking in some deep breaths here. You might like to chant the sound hum on the out breath. And slowly dropping the chin back to a neutral position. Roll the shoulders up to the ears, down the back. A few deep breaths. And back in the opposite direction. And back to center. Slowly straightening through the legs, bending through the knees, through the ankles. You can gently massage the legs as we start to get the blood circulating all the way down to our toes. Straightening through both legs, drawing the toes back towards you. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. And exhale, folding forward. So if you're struggling reaching your toes, you can place the hands on the shins, lifting up through the chest and folding from the hips. Continue drawing the toes back towards you. With each out breath, creeping the fingertips towards the ankles. You can also drop the chin to the chest here. If you can reach the toes, you can push the feet into the hands, stretching through the upper back. And if the hamstrings are really tight, you can gently bend the knees, keeping them soft. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, placing them behind the sit bones. We're going to lift the hips up to the ceiling, point the toes and drop the head, opening through the throat. Slowly lowering the hips back down to the mat. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. Folding a little deeper this time, stretching through the posterior chain. Using the out breath to fold a little deeper. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, placing them behind the sit bones as you lift the hips, pointing the toes, dropping the head. Slowly returning the hips down to the mat. On the next in-breath, reaching up to the ceiling, and exhale, folding forward. Folding a little deeper. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, placing them behind the hips, lift the hips up to the ceiling, dropping the head, pointing the toes. And slowly returning the hips down to the mat and coming up to a nice tall seated position. Here we're going to bend through the left knee, pulling the left foot to the base of the spine, straightening through the right leg, drawing the toes back towards you. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, twisting the torso to the right and folding along the right leg. Taking the hands to the foot or holding on to the shin. Making sure to reach the left hand across to the right leg. Feeling a stretch through the back. If you need to here, you can bend slightly through the knee to reach the hand across. One more breath here. Cartwheeling the arms behind the left hip. Taking the right fingertips up to the ceiling, lifting up through the hips, opening through the throat, dropping the head, pointing the right toes. Lowering the hips down to the mat and cartwheeling the arms back to the right toes. Folding a little deeper. On the next in-breath, cartwheeling the arms, lift the hips, drop the head, opening through the throat. Dropping the hips, cartwheeling the arms back to the right toes, folding a little deeper. And once more, cartwheeling the arms back, lift the hips, opening through the throat. And dropping the hips down to the mat, coming up to a nice tall seated position. Bending through the right leg, joining the feet together. Holding the toes, gently lifting the knees up and down, lifting up through the chest. Taking a breath here, and then slowly walking the hands out in front. Breathing into the hips. Slowly walking the hands back, lifting up through the chest and straightening through the left leg. You can draw the right foot a little bit closer to the sit bones, lifting up through the chest. Inhaling both hands up to the ceiling, twisting the torso to the left, and exhale, folding along the left leg. If you need to, you can bend through the left knee to reach both hands across, or you can hold on to the shin. Taking a few breaths and just allowing the body to settle, feeling the stretch through the right lower back, through the right side. Cartwheeling the arms, placing the right hand behind the right hip, lift the hips, pointing the left toes, reaching over, arching through the back, opening through the throat. And lowering back down, cartwheeling the hands towards the left foot, folding a little bit deeper. Cartwheeling the hands, lift the hips, point the toes, arching through the back. Dropping the hips down to the mat, cartwheeling the arms back to the left foot. With the out breath, actively stretching a little bit deeper. And then cartwheeling the arms once more, lift the hips, arching through the back, opening through the throat. And slowly lowering back down, sitting up nice and tall. Bending through the left knee, taking the soles of the feet together. Holding toes, lifting up through the chest. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, walking the hands out in front, folding the upper body over the lower body. Slowly walking the hands back towards the feet. You can cross the legs, shifting the weight forward, coming onto hands and knees, or you can tuck the feet to one side, coming over into tabletop. Making sure that the wrists are under the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. We're going to take in a deep breath, dropping the belly down to the mat, lifting up through the crown of the head, opening through the throat. Exhale, belly button to the spine, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhale, dropping the belly. Following the rhythm of your own breath here, moving through the spine. Opening through the throat as you drop the belly down to the mat, allowing air to fill the lungs. Exhale, belly button to the spine. Using the body to help move the breath through. 2 more breaths here. And then coming back to a neutral spine. We're going to drop down onto our elbows, keeping our hips above our knees, gently rotating the wrists. And back in the opposite direction. Bringing the hands back to center and placing them on the mat. Looking towards the thumbs, we're going to slowly walk the fingertips away, dropping the chest, the chin down to the mat. Continue looking towards the thumbs, opening through the throat. Stretching through the shoulders. Again, visualizing that blue light beaming from the throat. Imagine it swirling. Each breath making the swirling faster. Visualizing it shining brightly. Slowly walking the hands back towards you, coming up onto the elbows. You can either leave the hands face down on the mat or you can join the palms together. We're going to tuck the toes and lift the hips up into dolphin. Again, pushing the chest and the throat forward. And then slowly returning the knees back down to the mat and pressing up onto the hands. Gently move through 2 to 3 cat-cow, just releasing through the spine. Just observing the neck here. Noticing any tension that you're holding. And then coming back to a neutral spine. Crossing the ankles, walking the hands back, coming to a seated position and finding the center of the mat. Taking the hands out in front, slowly uncurling the spine. Keeping the knees bent, walking the feet in nice and close to the sit bones. Tucking the shoulder blades down the back, reaching the fingertips towards the heels. On the next in-breath, lift the hips up to the ceiling. And exhale, lowering them back down. Inhale, lift the hips. This time, inhaling the hands up and over the head. And exhale, lowering back down. Inhale, lifting the arms, the hips. Exhale, lowering down. 2 more times. Straightening through the legs here. We're going to draw the heels together, allowing the toes to fall out to the left and right sides. We're going to tuck the shoulder blades down the back, gently rolling onto the right, placing the left hand on the left glute, and the opposite direction. Bending through the elbows, opening through the throat, placing the head on the mat into fish pose. Opening through the throat here, taking in a few deep breaths. Turning to the chanting at any point in time. If you're finding difficulty getting into this pose, you can place a pillow beneath the upper back, beneath the shoulder blades, and leave your arms out by your sides. Two more deep breaths here. And then gently lifting the head, placing the back down onto the mat, taking your arms out by your sides. Just relaxing the entire body, palms facing the ceiling. Keeping the eyes closed. Coming back to the senses. Running through each of them. Noticing the light across the eyes. What you can smell and taste. Observing what you can hear. And then tapping into what you can feel. Noticing the body's points of contact on the mat. Noticing your clothing against your skin. Noticing the breath as it moves through the body. The chest as it rises and falls. And then focusing on the triangle beneath the nose. The air as it passes through the throat. Feeling its temperature, feeling its speed. On the next 3 breaths, visualizing or chanting hum on the out breath. Hum. 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 And then allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. Wiggling the fingers and wiggling the toes. Gently bending through the knees, walking the feet onto the mat. And drawing the knees into the chest. Circling the knees, releasing through the lower back. And then back in the opposite direction. Gently rolling onto your side. Taking a breath as the head and the heart settle. And when you're ready, slowly returning to a seated position. Lifting up through the chest, sitting up nice and tall. Taking the hands together over the heart center. And bringing to mind a truth for you. A truth, a way of expressing yourself, a way of living your life. Visualizing this truth in the throat chakra. Releasing any fear around expression. Any worry about the way that you'll be perceived. And thank you for joining me on the mat this morning. Namaste.